The topic of this presentation today for me is going to be design responsibility and the responsibility of the designer. I come from the food design world. I come from design like industrial design, and then design theory more specifically, and the creative process and how this plays out. But my design sub-disciplines of interest has always been food design. And so even though we'll not talk about food design specifically today, that is the area of my curiosity and my interest. So you'll see examples popping in here and there. But today I want to talk about responsibility in a way. I want to go a bit deeper into what it is that we are doing here as designers, as creators, and maybe give a little input of something that I've been formulating for a while, and maybe a little bit of just an input to all of us. All of the message that I'm going to present today can be summarized in this sentence: with great power comes great responsibility. And I'm sure you've all heard this sentence before. It comes from an area of human life that is maybe in a way far from design, but I think to me it always spoke about design. This sentence always spoke about design. From great power comes great responsibility, because designers, in the broadest sense of the word, regardless of what you design, products, websites, services, entire systems, and any type of intervention in life, as designers, we have a great power, the power of bringing in change into this world, the power of bringing in something that wasn't there before. Therefore, we have a big responsibility. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. And the core of my message can be summarized in this sentence: buy less, buy local, buy better, right? We've all heard of it, and it's quite fascinating, and it's interesting, great. When I hear or read this sentence, though, my brain actually reads design less, design better, design local. The first sentence here talks about consumers, users, people, all of us as consumers. And it talks about you have the responsibility, consumer. You are the one who should buy better. You are the one who should recycle. You are the one who should make sure that what you buy then goes in the right bin. Or you have to feel guilty because you buy your bananas in a plastic wrap instead of, without plastic wrap. And it's all on the consumer. And I'm starting to think that might not be exactly what I want to work with when I am the designer or when I teach design more often. Because consumers, people, have many things to worry about. We have our job, we have to pay the bill, we have to take the kids to ballet practice and swimming lessons, and we have to walk the dog, and we have to pay things, and there's a whole lot of things that consumers have to do. And I don't think that the whole responsibility of the damage that we have done to the planet and the improvement we could bring to the planet should be on the consumers. On the other hand, this second sentence here talks about the designer and her or his responsibility to actually design stuff that is better, that is local, and maybe design less stuff. So this is what I want to focus our attention on: this shift on the shift of responsibility, from the responsibility of the consumers to the responsibility of the designers, of those who are actually creating this and making the stuff, whatever it is, products, services, anything. I'm going to talk about these 3 points one by one, and let's start with design less. Simply put, everywhere you go, everywhere you look, there's a lot of stuff. Wherever you are right now, in this moment, you look around you, there is a lot of stuff. We have designed a lot of stuff everywhere. And this is what's interesting. Do you know what is the amount of waste created each year? 300 million tons of municipal solid waste per year. But what is the number of products designed and produced each year? Nobody knows. Isn't that interesting? there's so many statistics are made on waste and nothing is made on production. Because guess what? Everything that is thrown away was once designed by somebody, which means that something was designed to be thrown away ultimately. So this is what I mean when I talk about this shift of perspective, shifting the responsibility from the consumer to the designer, because we are those who create the stuff, and whether it's products or services, etc., we are those who create things, and therefore we are those who should design in the best way possible and take the responsibility for that. Because if you look around, there's a lot of stuff that has been designed that makes very little sense. A lot of stuff that has been designed that is probably used once and then forgot in the last drawer of your kitchen and never used again. Because we absolutely need to have our teacup or coffee cup warmed up by a USB from our laptop instead of just taking a minute and just drink the coffee or the tea. And we need rice made in perfect cubes, and we really need, look at this, not even the advertisement shows the product working. You see, it's supposed to break the egg in two, and not even the photo in the advertisement actually shows the egg breaking in half, and I'm not sure that I have to say anything about this. So the point here is that there's a lot of stuff and wherever you look, and so maybe an idea would be to start designing less. That's also the words of somebody very famous in the design world that gave us 10 principles of good design. And the last one, my favorite, is good design is as little design as possible. So that was for design less. And now let's look at design local. Here is pretty simple. It's the story of the avocado that has to travel 9,048 kilometers to get to, let's say, Spain or somewhere in Europe, and end up deliciously in my salad or toast. So there's no way around it. This makes no sense, regardless of how much we all love avocado. So let's maybe find another fruit or vegetable that we grow here in Europe, and let's make it become the new avocado. Let's make it as trendy as avocado, because that's what design can do, amongst other things, of course. And who knows, maybe in the process, we also stop contributing to deforestation and destruction of ecosystems and climate change and funding drug cartels, etc. Or we could design alternative avocados. This is called Ecovado. It's made with plant-based ingredients, and it's, let's say, man-made avocado that probably allows us to not buy avocados and to not demand for avocados anymore, but enjoy your avocados on toast, etc. This is still a prototype, possibly an interesting though reflection on what we can do. So design local is about designing using what we have around, in my opinion. So we all know the benefit of that. But again, it's not just about buying local and consumers making 0 miles choice. I think it's about us designers choosing to design local. And here's the difficult part for companies to accept, maybe selling local. So would we really choose to give up that option of selling internationally, for example? We could do that maybe if we are not after wealth, and possibly if we are after prosperity. So I want to take a minute here to talk about the difference between health and prosperity, wealth and prosperity, because I think it's tremendously important for us designers to think about and contemplate on. Prosperity is an entirely different phenomenon from wealth. To prosper, all a human being needs is a little more than enough. Whereas to be wealthy means to have a lot more than enough. Wealth is by definition formed out of the need of security, which, if you think about it, is an illusion because it's rooted in the fear of scarcity. And scarcity is an illusion because planet Earth is all about abundance. And if you look around, there's more than enough for everyone if we use well what we have. From a business perspective, wealth is connected to the urgency that companies seem to have towards designing for growth and financial growth specifically. More and more growth more and more money, this thirst to achieve more and more, to obtain more and more. I'm sure that this is the actual fuel that has advanced our civilization and that has brought us where we are. But today it's called greed, and it refers to the desire to accumulate more material. Prosperity, on the other hand, is about having just more than enough. Enough will be different for everybody. It will be different in every country, and it can be different for the same person in different moments of her or his life. Each person knows what enough is for herself or himself. Prosperity is having everything you need and a little bit more for comfort. That's it. Because what else do you need? Everything more than that, you can put back into the system. You make circulate again. Circular economy. Rings any bell? Which means that we can talk about circularity, not just of material, but of money too. So prosperity seems to me to be a pretty good concept to put in our vocabulary. And maybe if we designers, business owners, inventors, visionaries, start thinking about our work in terms of prosperity, having creating a bit more than enough for everybody, and let circulate the rest, maybe we could create our own path for a better life, a more fulfilled life. And one fulfilled life is contagious, like a smile. Others pick up on it and change propagates. For example, we could consider Liberty Kitchen, a food service provider. They have a food stall, a restaurant, and a catering business that employs prisoners and ex-prisoners. So the business comes from the connection with the prison, with that prison in that city. The personal relationship with these people, and therefore its location, is what gives it its strength. And the head chef and the employees actually co-design some of the recipes. The Real Junk Food Project is another example of designing locally, because here there were three things. Number one, seeing the problem of food waste in their daily life. Number two, the immediate connection with a few supermarkets around. And number three, getting in touch with them and creating this connection with this new business. So locality was key. And I want to talk about Namliye. This company is located in Jordan. All the ingredients for their jams, honeys, and herbal teas, the three main products that they create, all their ingredients come from Jordan, local, great. But I and Manal, the designers and owners, also travel up and down the country themselves, and they meet their suppliers and the people they work with in various projects. They build friendships with people, and this connection to the land and the people in it are not just the reason why the company is so successful, but if that wasn't enough, it's also the reason why their jam tastes so good. So good design, as we saw in these examples, happens because of locality. And what locality allows is for real empathy. Empathy is given the space to surface. And to me, real empathy is not what most theorists tell us. It's not what is mainly taught in design school. It's not just about learning what other people think and feel and therefore need so I can design for it. To me, good design happens when I, myself, the designer, am personally invested in the outcome. Real empathy is about me not only feeling what users, consumers feel and think, but when I am the user, when I design for things I need or believe in. This is the way I look at design local. I think we should start from us. Let's look around wherever we are. Let's look at our lives. Let's design for the needs we have and for the principles we believe in. And then the third part finally is design better. So The number one thing I believe is needed in order to design better is something that is a very well-known concept, rarely applied to design, I see, cohesiveness. The thing we need to design better, for me, it's cohesiveness. Cohesiveness between what? Cohesiveness between the message and the language of a product, a service, an event, whatever you guys are designing, or a system. So the language of, let's say, a product, for example, is how it sounds like, how it tastes like, how it smells like, how it feels like, how it looks like, is what we design, the shape we give it. We're talking about a product as an example, is the shape, the colors, the textures, etc. It's the thing we are actually designing and how we design it. So it could be the food product, could be a vessel. In the case of food, we don't talk about plates anymore because the word plate is a bit reductive, so we call it vessel anywhere the food is contained. So you could be the design of the actual food product, of the actual and its recipe, of the actual vessel, of the whole food service, music and everything, lighting, the type of chair I'm sitting on, anything that I actually make choice on to prepare to, that creates the experience for the customer. That is the language. The message, on the other hand, is the story that the product or service tell, the meaning that this product or service has. It's the impact in the world that you want to create with it. Oops. And it's something that can be conveyed with marketing choices, packaging choices, etc., shape and everything here. So cohesiveness between message and language. I'm going to design everything about this product or service or whatever, my proposition's language, so that it's cohesive with the message that I want to convey. And choosing the message that I want to bring out in the world, I'm going to design the actual language. So how do we design better? Cohesiveness between message and language. I'm going to give you an example, a couple of examples. I'm sure you're all familiar with Alice in Wonderland, and there's one point in the book where she finds this drink me potion, and she drinks it and it allows her to shrink, right? To shrink down. If you remember in the book, as she drinks the potion has different flavors. Now, I don't remember the exact sequence, but it was like cherry pie first and turkey roast after, etc. So she would taste different flavors, different full recipes. So that's the message. A message that Heston Blumenthal was able to recreate into a dish. He was able to create the 6 different recipes, flavors described in the book into a liquid, all of the same color and texture and consistency and temperature. And then he had this vessel here designed for him. Let's see why we can't talk about plates anymore. He had this vessel designed for this specific dish that allowed him to layer the different recipes. And with this straw, one could drink from the bottom layer up, and one could experience the flavor of the different recipes or different food described in the book. So as you can see here, perfect coherence between the message and the actual language, how the product tastes like, looks like, the texture, etc., etc. And another example, let's say that a message here is cooking is giving. The designer here was investigating how cooking for somebody is actually giving a part of yourself. Think about it, when a chef cooks for you, a professional chef in a restaurant, but your mother, your grandmother, your partner, whomever is cooking something for you, is giving a part of herself, himself to you, because they're giving you their time, they're giving you their creativity, they're giving you their passion. So cooking is giving a part of ourselves, right? So that's the message. And the language for this designer, what she actually designed, is a series of vessels that are made from casts of parts of her own body. And then she served a full meal on them, emphasizing how cooking for somebody is giving part of yourself. So as you can see here, perfect cohesiveness between message and language. So these were just two examples of how we can design better, of this cohesiveness between message and language, which is something that we can apply to anything we are designing, even when we design systems, for example. But now maybe the question becomes, how do I design for cohesiveness, right? Thank you for telling me I should design for cohesiveness, but how do I do it? Well, that's a very long answer here that could take hours, but the short one is the food design thinking process that I create. I called it food design thinking. It's a food specific design thinking process, and it's designed for people who are designing anything in the realm of food, so from food products to dishes to services to events, etc. And it's the whole methodology, 6 phases, and at the moment 52 methods that guide the designer through different steps to make sure that there is always cohesiveness between the message that you want to put out in the world and the language that you're using. So this is really the core of what I wanted to talk to you about, and the shift of perspective between consumers and designers, and where really the responsibility lies. And I think it lies with us because we are the creators. So from great power comes great responsibility. If you have to remember anything from these 20 minutes with me, remember this sentence. So it's really your responsibility. It's your choice. So what will you do? Thank you so much.